Hey guys, with this video, I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. So one thing I've been doing with my streams is looking to really introduce a hobby of mine I have outside of gaming, which is model building Gundam. Now I've been doing this on and off for about 5 years, maybe a little bit more than that, give or take, and I really wanted to kind of take my ability from just being able to just kind of like put together, you know, a Gundam model and really take it to the next level by fully customizing it all. So with this video, I kind of want to introduce to you the tools I'm using, the ideas that I have, and what I'm hoping the end result will be. Given in mind I have no prior experience to kind of customize a Gundam, so things like scribing, paint with an airbrush, this will all be like brand new to me. So yeah. I'm pretty much diving straight into the deep end with this, and yeah, we'll go through some of the stuff that I have. So obviously the model you see here on display is the Gundam Freedom. This is the first kit I ever bought when I dived right into building Gundam. So obviously for my first kit, there's a few things so I sort of wrong with it. One of the most obvious but not obvious things, depending on your experience with building Gundams in the first place, this wing here is actually the wrong way around, and you can tell with the way these gaps are in the wings. This one's upside down. The problem I had is I applied water slide decals and I applied this the right way where the others on the wings are concerned, but because the wing was upside down, if I decided to put that the right way around after the water slide decals had dried, it'd be more noticeable that this wing was the wrong way. But yeah, even for that side, this is all the right way. The other thing is the Freedom's nipples. So on the chest pieces, I don't know how well the camera will capture this, there's like white, let's say white bullet shaped pieces that go into it. I'd lost the one that goes onto its left side, but obviously I've built a lot of kit since then. So behind me you've got the OVA Unicorn, one of my more recent purchases, the Eclipse. I've got the Red Frame Astray, Quanti 00 Quanti Full Saber, the MG1100 Justice, the 1100 Dynames. I recently just finished, as of yesterday, the MG1100 Strike, and I've got the MG1100 Barbatos. So that gives you an idea of the kits that I've built. So what have we got here? So I decided, with the Freedom being the first kit I had, we're doing it again when it comes to taking my ability to the next level. So I bought, so as you can still see, so all in its packaging and stuff is the Freedom Gundam again, because this is my favourite Gundam period. I absolutely love the machine. Not my favourite series of all the Gundams, that's IBO, but that is by far my favourite machine, and I really wanted to do this when it comes to fully customising. The other thing that I want to do with this is apply metal photo etch parts. So what these are basically highly detailed parts that you apply to a kit, so really give it the next level of depth to a build. And springboarding off of that, one of the purchases I've made is, because obviously with it being metal photo etched, I need to be able to accurately bend the metal around the part. So we have here it's like a sort of clamp, if you will, from this now the company is called Display, I believe it's pronounced. So obviously I'm using this clamp, I'd feed the metal sheet under it to bend it into place accurately, so it folded around the part I was applying it to. A lot of the materials that I've bought are from Display, that I've purchased from Omni Earth Shop, which is a hobby brand store based in Scotland, UK, that I'm affiliated with. If you're interested at all and you're based in the UK, I have an affiliate link that I'll leave in the description below. Use code STRAIGHT at checkout discount will be applied at checkout, and yeah, it could be helping me immensely because the potential of a really strong partnership with these guys is absolutely incredible. So yeah, please, I implore you, check them out if you're interested in buying a Gundam kit. Anyway, carrying on with that after that little plug. Yeah, so we've got the clamp. Now, a lot of experienced Gunpla builders sing praises of a certain brand of nippers called the God Hands. And God Almighty, I could not find a pair, so I went looking around for the next best thing. So we have here again Dispatch, I don't know how you pronounce them really. It's obviously we've got a pair of these nippers. These are yeah, it's called STA 3.0. Now when I've looked at reviews and things like that, these are literally the next best thing to the God Hand, although these are a lot more smaller, which helps to really get in and cut, you know, some really close pieces, like, you know, on a runner and stuff. So yeah, we've got, you know, some nippers, because for all the kits that I've built, I bought myself some like £20 nippers, and as of building my Strike Gundam 9 kits later, the blade is kind of like worn out, and I really struggled cutting some parts on the kit, which left some pretty horrible nub marks, to be honest. I'll sort that out later. That's the metal, that's for wedge parts. We've got various degrees of sanding paper. With this in particular, because the plan is to paint, I really don't want any existing, like, what you call like stretch marks on the kit, if you will, from, like, you know, when it's been produced, or, you know, some bad nub marks. That was the other reason I bought those nippers, so any cuts that I made was quite clean. And obviously we've got grades 180 to 800 now, so any sanding, you know, will be really smooth. Because obviously if I've got something really rough and poorly sanded, it will show when it comes to painting later. Obviously, because I've got my airbrush already set up, so we have bought a Mr. Hobby airbrush. So this was about £130. It was a really expensive high-end airbrush. Again, because I wanted to do this right, I wanted to make sure the tools I had were of high quality. And if you want stuff that's high quality, it means kind of forking a bit for it. But yeah, we've got our Mr. Hobby airbrush, and the paints we're going to be using. So to kind of touch on the inspiration a little bit, so obviously you guys know I'm a content creator, I'm assuming that's why you're watching this video. I went to the guys at Get Rec Labs to kind of work with and design my own branding. So with this custom Freedom, with it being my Freedom favourite Gundam, I wanted to kind of base a colour scheme off my own brand colours. So looking on that painting and honestly finding the idea of mixing paints, measuring it and all that kind of thing a little bit confusing, a bit hard for me to comprehend. I actually came across G-Paint. Now for the guys that don't know who G-Paint is, Studio G is a content creator and a Gundam fan that customizes and builds an endless amounts of kits, and his work's incredible. But where he lived, he struggled for having access to a lot of the high-end paints, like the Tamiya paints and things like that, and primers, and there was quite a lot of things he says he couldn't get. So he went about developing his own, and with his paints, they are primerless as well, because normally, when it comes to custom painting, you have to prime the parts, so, you know, so none of the old color kind of bled through. With his paints in particular, yeah, you don't need to worry about, like, you just apply 1 or 2 coats of his paint, and there's no need for priming, and you get the colour. So there was a certain set that was sold on the Earth's website, because they're partnered with Studio J, so they sell his paints, and his Christmas set contained 2 colours that almost identically matched my primary and secondary colours of my own branding. So we have, not them ones, sorry, pure gold and cyber leaf green. So like gold and the like green tealish colour are my primary and secondary colours. And another paint he sold was something I bought separately from the Christmas set, because the Christmas set has 8 different paints in it. So we've got dark silver and like a lighter silver here, and we've got stuff from rose gold and all sorts inside this box itself. But again, separately, I bought a gunmetal paint, because what I want to do is actually paint the inner frame with this gunmetal colour. And as part of some of the newer techniques I want to learn and kind of proactively do throughout this build is weathering effects. So we have bright and dark silver again within the Christmas paint, so I kind of want to apply that to the inner frame with the gunmetal and over, you know, the main kit itself, you know, so there's a bit of like weathering effects. So with the weathering effects, you know, we've got these different sponges and stuff, so kind of like achieve, you know, that kind of weathering thing. Just to explain the toothbrush while it's down there, and you might be already going, what the fuck? This is basically because I want to scribe. Scribing is basically the technique of being able to kind of carve like lines into my Gundam that aren't necessarily already on the kit. And this is going to be used to kind of clear out the excess plastic that will come off scribing and etching into the kit itself. So yeah, speaking of etching, we have this base, this by Dispatch A, how you pronounce it. It's a scriber. So this is made out of Tuscan steel. Again, all of this has been bought from On the Earth shop, and I've got this with various different like chisel sizes to kind of get different thickness of lines out across, you know, my etching when it comes to doing it. So yeah, I've got a 0.2mm and a 0.3mm that I've got this hook, and I've also got a like a flat chisel shaped end as well. So when I'm etching like panel lines into it, I can kind of follow up in like certain areas without maybe having like a block that I could just use to scrape with the chisel, just to add a bit of variety to my panel line and kind of make the build more interesting. Obviously, when you kind of panel line, you want to make sure that your lines are straight. Dispatch A or this base, or this by, they sell a tape that's quite thick, so you can kind of, when you apply this, let's say you draw your design into your kit, you apply the tape down and it stops you from actually gliding off and no scratching or scribing into the kit in areas you didn't need to. So it keeps your lines nice and consistent, and you can kind of work along it, so it reduces mistakes, which is absolutely brilliant. Gloves, obviously, because I'm going to be painting. Crocodile clips and a holder to, put the parts on, because I'm going to be painting all these parts individually before I assemble the kit. I also need to do it in an environment that's safe, so I've got myself a mask and a ventilator, which is over there by the monitor. Right now I've got it like collapsed and closed, but obviously as you see me stream and build this will be opening up. I'll be opening this up, sorry, and you'll be able to see it. The other thing that we've got is I wanted to get quite the selection of different water slide decals for this kit. Now, some of you eagle-eyed fans will know I've got the Strike Freedom decals on there, because I just didn't want to kind of like use water slides that you just are associated with the Freedom 2.0 kit. So I kind of looked, at like all the others too. I've got some that shoe the OG as well, because they've got some very interesting like patterns and marks on, like the Strike Freedom, because even when you look, how different it all is. I'm not going to be using every single one, and because I'm going to be scribing my own patterns in as well, I wouldn't even be able to follow the instructions given in the kit itself to know what decals are going to go where, because it's going to be my own custom design anyway. So I get the freedom of picking and choosing different water slide decals to apply in very unique places that I can create. This one, to me, a panel liner. So for the longest time, I've been using Gundam marker, and I've done it for all of my kits that I've built so far. Every single experience Gunpla builder has always used, to me, a panel liner. Now, when I first inquired on getting this, I'd heard that it was illegal to import to the UK, and now that I've joined some like communities and discords and things like that, a lot of people have kind of said no, you can get it in. It's just there is some skepticism in UK customs with the chemicals that are in it, and it actually comes with a hell of a lot of warning labels like all over this itself. But this is based on really like enamel based ink that you apply to like panel lining. But Gundam marker is water based, whereas this is oil. enamel oil, so it's much thicker and the lines will stand out, and it's a bit easier to clean as well. But with the cleaning, we have some lacquer thinner as well, because obviously the GD paint is lacquer based too, and it's also used for helping clear any excess to be a panel liner off, which is great. We've got some Gorilla Glue. Now, when it comes to getting glues, so basically with the metal photo etch parts, I'll need to glue them down, but the problem I had is I couldn't get glue that was fast acting, fast setting, whatever the buzzword is, in case, you know, I might not put it on proper. Gorilla Glue takes like a minute or two before it sets in and bonds something, so I kind of needed that breathing room. With this being my first time building, I know I feel, yeah, I was recommended to get Gorilla Glue, so you know, that's what we got. Yeah, I think we've just, oh yeah, we've got a high precision tempered glass file, again, to help with the sanding and things like that. You know, it was another option I needed to make sure I had. I've got a pencil, you know, for like drawing out on the kit itself, you know, where I might want panel lines at. I wanted, you know, kind of make up the designs as I go. So we have our pencil, my tweezers, obviously for picking up, you know, water slides, and I'm fine without using my fingers and, you know, getting dirty. We've got a paintbrush, just wanted to make sure one was like kind of like flat. So when it comes to the weathering effects, I'll kind of want to apply like paint and, you know, some of this like along creases and stuff and edges, you know, a lot along the kit, and obviously with weathering effects, because I want to kind of give it, you know, a bit of a realistic, yeah, like a realistic touch to it. So I'd have a lot more weathering and rusting, you know, along the feet and less, you know, further up the body I worked. Now, I've got myself a stencil. Now this is something I'm a little bit, will I be able to pull this off? Coming back to my branding is based off the Metal Gear games, and there was a bit of a focus on Metal Gear Solid 2, especially with its introduction movie, and a lot of the footage used in the introduction, for those that have seen it, there is a theme of hexagons repetition to kind of, you know, help reflect that solid, the liquid and solid snake were all clones. So that's what hexagons have used, and obviously with my branding being full blown based on it, you know, hexagons are used on it, and I was just repeating myself, but I wanted to make that point clear a little bit. So when it comes to the etching of my kit, I want to kind of, in an ideal world, apply hexagons. Now I know a lot of like Gunpla builders have all said, you know, you use panel lining, you know, you don't use it for texturing. I want to, because I see a lot of people that have built and stuff at kind of, it's all same. I want to kind of do something that might stand out. On that same note, I play a lot of Halo, and God, I might get a little hate for this. I honestly think Halo 5 has, in terms of like design and that, Halo 5 has a lot of interesting design choices, well, 4 and 5. Now, to draw your attention to the Master Chief and Locke, now they're using like you know, newer generation, like Magnolia, I can't pronounce the word, I'm struggling with that, much like Dispatch or Display. But to draw the tech suit, the black suit underneath their armour, it's all hexagon themed. So using the fact that hexagons are already included in my branding, and looking at Halo 5's, you know, character design and its armour design, something I wanted to kind of think about doing is applying the hexagons onto the wings itself, and in places like the blue part on the Freedom's torso, and maybe in some other areas. But I think that might be a little bit tricky because of how small the hexagons might be, and I don't think using a stencil would be wise to kind of do etching on, considering how small the parts are. Trying to get that repetition and stuff, it might prove a little bit too tricky. The other thing is that I might have to consider is, obviously I draw the hexagons on, so I'd have to measure them. So we've got the ruler for that, but again, the size and trying to get it in there, I'm not too sure if I'll pull it off. So my other thinking is, instead, is when it comes to designing panel lines, when it comes to you don't you know, draw panel lines and stuff, or you know, design corners more than a 90-degree angle. You want to try and keep it around 30 to 90. So I'm sort of thinking like maybe using hexagons, like the way their lines are, to kind of like inspire like the panel lining instead. So maybe like, let's say if you look at the thigh here on the Freedom, so if I took one half of the hexagon and use that to kind of start out the panel line, or maybe I draw one hexagon somewhere on the torso and do a load of wild like panel lines coming off of it. That's some of the ideas I'm thinking of. But yeah, I think I've gone through the equipment here that I've got so far at the moment. Yeah, I want to kind of get this video out there first, so you can kind of see, you know, where my thoughts are, and then obviously because I'm streaming this build as of Monday. So yeah, so because the final version might come out different, but right now this is the plan that I've got in my mind. You know, referring to my own branding, I've got my own colour scheme. Panel lining is the big question that I've got. I think will be probably the biggest risk I might have of actually ruining this from the get-go, because this is my first time doing this. Buying an MG build right off the bat is, you know, questionable decision for more experienced builders. But for me, there was no alternative. I knew the kit I wanted to do it on. I wanted to do the kit I started on. I know my favourite Gundam. And you know, I'd be absolutely amazed if I pulled, you know, if I got this to quite a good standard. You know, I've invested a lot. I've got some really good tools. I honestly think I think I have. So yeah, fingers crossed we get this done. And I'm really excited and also nervous, like, you know, like mad to do this. And yeah, so yeah, like I've said a couple of times, I'm sorry if I tripped over myself, repeating myself even. You know, I'm streaming this, so all my social links, Twitter, Twitch, all be down below in the description. Simultaneously to doing this video, the streams, taking inspiration from Studio G, from S-Dark. You know, we'll be putting a showcase video together. This video will be finished with a tease, you know, of that video, and I hope you enjoy it. And before, you know, you get the comments and reply to it, you know, you use the wrong music from the wrong anime. I know. Again, coming back to the Metal Gear thing, it informs my branding, and it's going to inform, do I say my video design, or my inspiration to how I do, you know, like these showcase videos. Again, much like using the hexagons and trying to texturize the build, I want my showcase video to kind of reflect my passions, you know, what inspires me, the things that I love. So, you know, a lot of the video will be, as much as I can do or interpretate, is very Hideo Kojima trailer inspired, and a lot of inspiration could be coming from the Metal Gear Solid 5 videos. So I hope you enjoyed the teaser. I'm sorry if I've rabbited on or if I've repeated myself. I just wanted to get this video out there. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're as excited as I am for this build, because I'm nervous, but I can't wait to try. So thank you for your support. If you like this video, or you like the idea of the Gundam I'm pursuing, you know, give this channel a follow. I'd massively appreciate it. You know, subscribe buttons down below. So I've got various builds coming up. I had the MG EX Strike Freedom pre-ordered, so we're waiting for that in November. And I've got 2 or 3 more Gundams I want to build after this, all MG sizes, and you know, to add to this collection already. The next one after this custom build Freedom's finished is I'm probably looking at the new Gundam, the Burkar. Yeah, and then I've got the Sazabi that I'm looking at as well. So yeah guys, thank you, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.